All right. Hopefully I'm getting some good sound on this. That's what I'm assuming. Let's get on to this today. We got a lot to do. Sorry, just connecting up to my tripod here, bouncing around. Sorry. There we go. All set. All right. Let me bring you guys down a little bit too. There we go. How's that look? I think that'll work. Cool. All right. Let's get back to this. Lost a bit of time there. I had to switch back over to this. There's some days, stuff just doesn't want to do it doesn't want to work. So, yeah, I was on my laptop a little bit ago. Had to switch over. Something with the connection. It's always something. So, just back to what I know works, which is this right here. So, hope everybody's having a good day today. I know I am, for sure. And again, what we're doing here today is basically doing flower beds all the way down along my privacy fence here. It's going to be, this is a part of the, part of the deal that's always just a little bit, meh, where you gotta, especially for me, like saying, I spent a long time getting all this grass ready to go. And then here we are basically just tossing it. Makes me very sad. Very, very, very sad. But it has to be done. I've got to have a spot to be able to put my, again, the idea between the flower beds obviously is make it look a little bit better, but also, end of the day, what we're trying to do is break up a lot of all these lines that we have here. Everybody knows straight lines are not what we're going after. So I will be right back. Gotta go dump this load off. Back before you guys know it. Uno minuto. All right. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah. That's my rough collie, Bonnie. That dog, I swear, that's her favorite thing to do is just randomly bark at stuff, specifically when it's me. Such a pain. But excuse me, she's a good pup. She's a rescue, and She was from a house that had was a hoarding situation. And they had close to 100 dogs piled into this basically double wide bunch. It was just bad. And she's bred, so there's some other stuff wrong with her too. But like I said, she just really likes to bark. Really, really, really likes to bark. It's her favorite thing. Which, she knows it's me, but she's just barking at me. I think to let me know that she can see me. Kind of hard to say. She always got something she's working on. So, but anyways, welcome to the stream, everybody. Sorry about that. I was just dropping off. I'm dropping off my first load of grass that I had. Again, what we're going to be doing here is I've already got a big chunk of my basically flower gardens already dug out here, as you can see. And we're just continuing on down the line here, digging them out. That's where we're at today. Yeah, I got my perennials. I started them this week. Over the course of a couple days, we got about, how many total plants? It's about 500 total plants that are in my green, that I started in my greenhouse. And that includes, one tray of mums as well. So, to be able to have those around and get them going. So we've got about half of them started germinating already, which is great. It's a good, always love to have viable seeds, especially when I'm starting something out of cycle like this. So that was a good news story. But yeah, we're just basically just working on this piece here today. It's gonna be the big chunk. I got to get down. Probably want to get past my dogwood tree here. About another, if I can get another maybe 5-8 feet past that today. This morning I'll call that a W. Mainly because I've got to get my grass should be dried out by then. I wanted to mow grass on Friday, but kept having things come up. I couldn't get to it. And then Saturday we had rain all day. So that means, basically an extra inch worth of growth with this grass that I have. So as that's why it looks like I got a forest going on here right now. So, but yeah, today is going to be Ryan's going to do a whole bunch of digging day. But in a little bit I'll show you guys exactly what I'm using as far as my guide for the different type of plants and flowers I'm going to be using. It's just one of those things that what I tell folks, you want to make sure that you've got you have a book for landscaping that's specifically for your region. So that way, one, even if you don't want to necessarily do a lot of landscaping, it's good to just have the book around because it'll give you some ideas of, hey, you know what? I got this tiny little spot that I want to do. What's a good plant that's going to do well there? And the book that I have, which bring out here in a little bit, is specific for the Midwest because I'm right here in northern Michigan. So we get, for when it comes to the summers, we get Midwestern summers, but we get Canadian winters, or at least we used to. Now our winters are a bit more, more like the Ohio Valley, to be honest. We get snow, but it doesn't stick around. We get there's a lot more freezing rain and stuff like that's happening too. So it's definitely interesting. The climate is definitely shifting up where I'm at here. Just you just tell it's, especially like with my family and everything. They don't run a farm. They're having to make adjustments to their when they can plant, when they can't, and it's pretty interesting to say the least. Biggest feature has been how much the change in water that we're getting. As far as for rain, that has definitely been a big deal because we still get the cold, we still have the cold mornings and all that stuff that that we're pretty much used to in northern Michigan. It's just kind of the thing that you get used to. So like this morning it was 47 out, and today it should reach probably, I think we're going to be 75. That's pretty normal for this time of year, just to be down in the 40s like that. But it's always a crapshoot if you're going to plant, if you decide to plant before Memorial Day, because we still get frosts up to Memorial Day on most years. And this year, we didn't get a frost. Our last frost was just a couple days before Memorial Day, and I had already put stuff out in the garden to get that going. So, but I'm not too worried about that. The plants, they're going to hold up just fine. So let me show you exactly the book that I'm using for my landscaping here. Again, you can get a copy of this from, now this one's for the Midwest, but you can find one for each one of the different sections of the country here. Definitely make sure you do that. And with that, I found this one up. This is what we're going to be doing for the actual border for my fences here. You see I've got that piece along there. At the bottom, it gives you the top down look. You can see how the layout's supposed to be. And then they give you some information on each of the plants that they're recommending. So I like it. It's pretty straightforward. I don't have to think too much. I'm not making any guesses. These plants are known to do well in this region, so I'm gonna put it in there. It's gonna look pretty. Just break up some of these straight lines, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody's trying to deal with all these dang straight lines. What a pain. So, but yeah, that's it. That's what we got going on today. So I'm just pulling out all these, and it's and this is, if anybody was watching previously, you knew like how heart-wrenching this is for me, because I know this was an open lot that we had that we had before, that I have basically had to put all this grass down because kill everything off, pay the landscaping company to come here and do this. And I didn't have grass for most of the summer last year, so to be able to come out here and actually have it, and now I'm tearing it up, kind of hurts a little bit, breaks my heart some. So anywho, but yeah, it's the other thing too. It is going, I can already feel it warming up because I got the sun right directly behind me here. It is toasty right now. That sun's beating down on me. I'm already starting to work up a good little sweat, which again isn't terrible. Yeah, because yesterday was basically just like a lounge around sort of day, because I didn't get the opportunity to get out here because of all the rain, which I'm not upset about. I don't mind us getting this rain, then the rain overnight, or just have a day of some rain. It's good for the garden, good for the grass, good for my trees. But when you're trying to get stuff done, you'd rather just have the day be a nice overcast, cloudy day, no rain. Just come out here and grind and hammer out, because all the way down to there, like the fence line on the back here is it's 80 linear feet for this spot, and it's 40 up to the house. So it's a little bit of a length to be doing. So I've got 25 feet here plus 80, and I'm gonna run this border all the way around to the side there, even though it's not gonna get much sun. We'll see how it does. So that's 125 linear feet times, on average, about 6 foot. 6 foot is the depth for the beds. It's a lot of square footage that I'm, that we're getting rid of about half my house. That's what the math works out to. And like I was saying, I got to get this all up. I've got to give, then I got to work the soil up, give it a chance for, then I'm going to cover it up basically to kill off any, I'm going to solarize it, kill off any of the weed seeds that were buried underneath, in the grass further down. After I turn it over, and then we'll get everything planted. And that's really what it looks like, because we're going to do, because I was saying I've got my, and I was saying earlier, got about 500 perennials started in my greenhouse to basically fill in this area. So it's quite a few. You know, you do the math. 500 on average. You know, the plants right now. Good Lord, especially perennials, because they sell them to you grown. You can't get them as little nubs. You know, it's $10 a pop. You know, at least $10 a pop. You know, typically closer to 24. And I'm going to be, you know, just got them started. Be growing them out there. It's easy enough. The one thing I definitely would recommend, if you have the ability to put a small greenhouse somewhere on your property, I highly recommend it for starting some of your stuff. You know, it's the amount that we're being charged now at these box stores, you know, for just even annuals. Good Lord. You know, my mom wanted some marigolds this year, so she deadheaded all of her marigolds. And, you know, if you've been on stream, you've heard me say this before. I did like 200 and whatever that number is, 216, give or take, marigolds this year. I went to Lowe's for something. I think we were doing a stream there just to kind of check out some of the perennials and get some ideas for stuff. And the average, they were charging $3 like per marigold. Like, just blew my mind. Marigolds are one of the easiest plants to get started. You literally just drop the seeds and you don't even have to think about them. They'll take care of it. But two, they're little. You know, the dwarf marigolds, mind you, not the 5-footers that you can get, which I did have around my garden last year. I had the big boys, big boy marigolds. Those are great. Those are always great. They put out a lot of flowers. The bees love them, which is what I wanted. So, all right, I'm gonna go run this across the street here. I got to take my next load over. I'll be right back, folks. I would take you with me, but crossing streets and stuff, just trying to make sure I maintain my focus. All right, get back at it here. Whew. Cruising along here, folks. Cruising along. Maybe you guys want to, maybe you want to see that a little bit. Look at that. There you go. Okay, so as we were, continuing down the line here, working on these flower beds. Everybody's, hey Olive, what you doing, Olive? Come on, bud. Got my puppies coming out. Olive, what you doing? Hey, Buns. The redhead let the puppies out. Let me close that door up. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, bud. Here you go. You guys go. What you doing, huh? Come, Bunny. Bunny, come. Bunny. Bunny, come. Come on. Here, Olive. Olive, what's this? What's this? Oh. Dogs are trying to figure out what I'm doing out here. They're like, what are you doing, man? Hey, puppies. You guys want to help? Get you guys a shovel or something. Dig up some of this grass. That's too funny. I love my pups. Came out, gave it a sniff. Going back to chill it on the deck, get some sun. That is too funny. Not surprising though. But anyways, so this is day 3. This is the 3rd day. Just working on these flower beds, digging them out here. Again, I am, you know, I'm in a hurry to get them done, but I'm not rushing. And I've got my perennials; they're all started, looking good. Gotta say, half of them are germinated, which is great. But the other piece here is I'm just want to make sure I get these all done. I said I'm leaving later in the week here for oh good Lord, for New Orleans. So I need to make sure I got this done before then, just so they have it, soil has a chance to kind of breathe a little bit after I turn it over. Yeah, and it's going to be obviously a bit of a weather shock there too, because it is going to be 90s. It'll be 90s while I'm in New Orleans. I'll be inside obviously for most of it, but still, I think we're having the little icebreaker or whatever that they normally have at the beginning of those conferences. For sure we're going to be outside. So it's going to be like 85 degrees and 90% humidity right there on the river, which last year was pretty fun. Or last 2 years ago we had a conference down there, and the group that I'm with, Pinnacle, they rented our own steamship, you know, one of the ones, those big wheels, and they had like a casino night on there, you know, for no which was fun because a lot of folks didn't know how to play craps, and so we got everybody basically got to drink a whole bunch and drink a ton, learn how to gamble. It was a good time. But like saying, I don't drink, so necessarily being around a bunch of folks that drink isn't exactly my idea of a good time though either. But it was fun watching everybody have a good time. So, you know, in my work as a business coach, you know, we're by ourselves like most of the time. And for those folks that are extroverted, which a lot of, you know, folks in my industry are, you know, they need that recharge with people. I ain't one of those folks. I'm perfectly fine not being around folks. I enjoy people. I love people. That's why I do the work I do, help them be successful. But I can easily just spend my time here in the garden, on the yard, just working on stuff here. Be just fine. Like, no worries on my part. We had our Orioles, mating pair for Orioles, they showed up last week. So that's been fun seeing them around, but also hearing them too. They've got such a weird's I think the right word I want to say, but it's just a different basic bird song than what I'm used to, especially around here. A lot of chirps and stuff like that. They've got a full-on song that they do, kind of like robins. Yeah, Mr. B, the flowers are over there, man. Get away. So I had to cut back my chamomile as a test a couple days ago. My chamomile was up to here, so I wanted to cut it back and see how well it does, because it's still early enough in the season. I mean, it's just beginning of June here, up here, so still, pretty chill weather. I want to see how much it grows back, because I've got 2 decent-sized chamomile plants. So one of them I'm willing to cut it back and see how it performs, just so I have a better idea. And from what I can tell, I think it's going to come back pretty strong. That's a good news story. The rest of and the other thing too is like my wildflowers that I put on the side of the house. It's good to see them coming back, and then also the new ones that I planted, new wildflowers. As far as seeding them, I did those back in let's say March. I put them out there, which they've got to go through that cold spell, and then obviously with the rains and everything, they're starting to take off. And that's one thing on the side of my house with all the wildflowers. One, it brings in a ton of pollinators. So many pollinators, it's insane. But then the second part, which I do like about it, is it's on the ugly side of my house, and we all got that, where they got the stuff on the wall, on the exterior. And last year, they grew up big enough and thick enough to where they covered up a vast majority of what I had there. So that was great. Again, it's not like I'm embarrassed by it, but again, I'm trying not to look at too much civilization when I'm at the house. Of course, I say that, and I also put solar panels on the house this year to help, to help cover the increasing cost of electricity. I think, I know I'm a little early on it here, but where we're at in Michigan, I think it's pretty fair to say word's going to get out how nice it is here, and it is getting out. And I excuse me, I expect that we're going to be seeing rather large influx of businesses and people moving in here. It doesn't make sense for it not to happen. I've lived in a couple areas where once people realize it, they come flocking in. Folks want to get out of Detroit and out of Chicago. And if they can do their, keep some of their staff work from home, they'll be able to come up here, set up shop, even if they, only open up, let's say they bring 10 jobs each up here. I was in Maine. We saw the population around Portland, where I lived at for a few years. The population around Portland was up like 40% in 3 years. Just because when COVID happened, people who had second homes and everything, they just came up to Maine and worked, and then they didn't leave. They came up and brought their kids up, enrolled them in the local school, because they didn't want to be stuck in the cities. And then they realized, like, man, living there year round ain't so bad. And then became the downfall of Portland, which is still doing fine. But Portland's kind of a different situation just because it's on a peninsula. They can only put so many people on there, But the surrounding community, they got people moving in. They're building houses all over the place there, places that they typically wouldn't. But anyways, I expect that's going to start happening here in Michigan too, especially in my area. It's the folks who basically, we have a lot of folks from Chicago, Detroit, who have their second homes here. Their summer homes. I think we're getting to the point where, like, we might as well just move up there full time. Which is fun. Again, for me, it's good for me, you know, especially people who come over here starting new businesses and everything. You know, local business coach is always in demand. So we'll have lots of that coming here, which is going to be good. But anyways, I digress. Back to what we're doing here. Again, this is you know, basically once we get past this tree, I want to get, you know, continue on past there. But we're building out these flower beds, and like saying the average, you know, depth on these right now is, as far as for width, I should say, is about 7 feet. That's going to allow me to get a nice staggering of perennials in here, so that they'll be all set. Again, just show you guys what I'm working with here. This is the book that we're working off of. Midwest Home, again, landscapings. You can find your own version. See how they got it colored out here? Find a landscaping thing for your area. You'll be ecstatic. And this is the flower beds we're putting in. What I love about the book too, again, they show you the pictures up here. They show you the overview, right? This is, they got a bunch of squares on there, right? You can see that? Those are square feet, right? Got working freedom units around here. We're in America. And then they give you an idea basically about each one of the flowers, the plants, as well as you go back here. They give you a different profile so you can see what they kind of look like instead of just going by the picture, the drawing. You can see actual pictures of the foliage and everything. So it's pretty cool. Definitely recommend you get one. I think everybody who does, you know, who has a yard should be looking at getting one. You know, just so you know, hey, these are the perennials that are going to do really good work here. You know what I mean? Trying to take all the loam with me when I go. I'd like to keep some of it here. Looks like I am going to have to probably pick up maybe, excuse me, may have to pick up a couple yards of loam just to top all this off. Or I can do it. The other part I was thinking about too, which was get the plants in here and then forego in my garden, at least for a little bit, split up my compost that I'm making, because currently all my compost just gets put back in my garden. But I may come out here and actually just, once I get everything planted, come back around and recompost everything out here mid-season, you know, as I'm making it. So it's like right now I've got I've got two, excuse me, two compost piles they've got like 1 week left, give or take, on their maturity, and they'll be ready to go. So those could easily just come in here. Although I do not want to kind of get some down on my corn and my sunflowers before it gets too bad. All right, there's that. Okay, I'll be back in a second. I'm dropping a load off. BRB. Okay. Oh, shut up. All right, back at it. O'clock. Okay, so next, is coming back up here, probably right about to this spot right here. All right, so yeah, as we're doing this here, we're simply just getting to make our way along here. Hey folks, welcome to the stream. My name's Ryan. Those haven't been on here before. Just a dude likes to work in his garden, things like that. Like come on here live, chat with you guys. Oh, thanks, Red. I had a spider on me. So, anyways. All right, so currently what we're doing is right now, so I've got to draw out my well, I think we'll go right here. I want the peak right here. There we go. I think that'll do. And again, what we're doing here is build up these part of the flowers here. What I want to do is basically just kind of on a randomness, kind of have a weave back and forth here on a pseudo regular, but not overly regular shift in the lines here. So this piece right there, I think that'll work. Again, I don't want to have jagged lines or anything like that. That's not what I'm looking for, but I do want to have, I don't want it to be a repeating pattern if I can help it. It's going to look somewhat, and like I said, you want to have, basically I want to have my flower gardens here, but I'm looking at along there. I'm trying to break up the straight lines that exist from the, with the privacy fence. So when we do this, that's why I want it weaving. And that's why also on the back here, I've got the vines that we're going to be planting, different colored ones that bloom, perennials, to, again, try to break up the privacy fence a little bit, at least out here, in here, I should say. And again, the overall size that I'm working with here, for those that are wondering, is it's going to be about 130 total linear feet worth of, come on, Ryan, use your words. Basically flower beds. They're going to be going in here. And, I'm going to have some stuff in here as well. Like I've got to order it still, find the one I want. But we're going to have going to have a waterfall, so I'm leaving space in one area enough where I can have like a small pond set up. One for the birds, that's always nice, but have like a little, either waterfall, a little fountain in there, as it just as something. But the other side here though too is that this is, I've just got trees. This is a dogwood we're going to be. This is the spot we're also going to be making our little forever resting spot for our puppies when they pass. We have one dog, Shelly, that we still have to inter into the ground here, and we've been waiting on Shelly for a spot for her for a couple of years now, just due to the move and not having this set up. So once I get this and we're able to get this ready, we'll put it here, and that's why I got a dogwood in here. Thought that'd just be kind of, a little apropos, right? Make sure you guys aren't going to fall over there. Wind's starting to pick up a little bit. But yeah, that weather system that came through was annoying yesterday. Man, it just messed up my good time. Like I had a lot of stuff planned, and instead it just rained all day. And I wasn't going to be out here doing this in the rain. Soil's heavy enough as it is. I can throw on some. Add the rain to it. Oof. Again, this is also, like I mentioned earlier, this is kind of bittersweet for me because last year I didn't have any grass in this entire back area, well, the entire property, to be honest, because we had just moved in, and I didn't have grass like a full. Oh, that guy popped. I didn't have that until, I'd say probably till mid-August is when I was actually mowing on a pretty consistent, level. So that gave me just a couple months worth of, time for my grass to grow in. And we had all sorts of issues when they planted it too. No fault of the landscapers, but like we ended up getting like torrential. So we have is extremely dry, hot, 90 degrees here in Michigan, which we don't normally get until August, and even then, or end of July, beginning of August. But then rain would all come overnight, and it would be, we'd get like an inch, it'd just be a downpour, and then the next day back up to 90. So it washed away. I actually had the evening that they did their hydroseeding, we had like torrential downpours, supercells come through, just awful. For for a couple hours. And man, I came out and it had washed off like half on the other side of actually this area over here, plus towards the road on that side, it had washed off half of my hydroseed. True, we still had, I know that there were still seeds that were in there, but it also washed away some of my loam as well. Like it was pretty bad. So I had to go in there and I have a relationship with them. I just went in and said, hey, just give me a bag of seed and I'll take care of it. So that's what I did. But I just went in and reseeded everything myself and finished it off that way, which worked out pretty good. All right. But so far this has been it's been a really good second season in the property here. Really has been really good. Got a lot accomplished. It's really just been built on last year's development, because none of this was here last year when we got started. So the fence my brother and I we put in, it's 80 by 40 privacy fence with 2 gates. My garden enclosure was in here. I did that in April last year. The shed I had put in May. My greenhouse I built in August. Grass we had put in July. had the awning put in, or I installed that with my sister-in-law. That was probably August as well, maybe. I think. Got the orchard in this spring. Yeah, and yeah, it's really right. I just got the compost bins. They're doing their thing. They were there last year. So all things considered, now we're just building on the stuff there. We got the monuments in place. Now we can just start, filling in around the edges like this. I.e., okay, let's get the flower beds in, because I wasn't in any place where I could do them last year because we were already in the 90s. By the time they were putting the grass in. So there was no way I was going to be able to get keep this blocked off and then try to put my perennials in. Also I just didn't have the funds for it. If I can't pay for stuff in cash, I don't really like to do it. And, I had money set aside for certain things, and this is one of them. For this year, basically saving up for this, but doing this on the inexpensive after I got the greenhouse, so that way I can, do this stuff this way. Again, I just did the math on there. We got about 500. Let's say it's just going to be 400 total plants I'm going to use in here for all my perennials, right? If you go to the box stores, like the average box store price, just throwing it out there, is going to be, let's say it's $13. So I got 400 times 13. You're looking at $5,000. $4.5 excuse me. In plants, for $80 worth of seeds. Obviously the greenhouse, it's a sunk cost because I use it for everything else. I use it to get pretty much my entire garden started this year. I got a full, excuse me, basically 2 months worth of extra growth on my tomatoes. I got my cucumbers started early. And it's always a tough start here in Michigan when the sun and the moisture levels are right, but it's just so cold that the plants can't germinate. So having the greenhouse to get them started in there, so they can tolerate the cold, so they can just hop in and just worry about growing instead of germinating. And I've got a ton. Oh yeah, that's the other thing inside the garden enclosure. We've got the what's that? So the garden enclosure too. I've got my tomato trellises that we did on stream a little while ago. That went pretty well. Those things are doing great. They're holding up just fine. Like I knew they would. I mean, they're made out of studs, for goodness sake, but they're doing good. So it's gonna be a good proof of concept too on what the growth looks like as well, as far as getting those started early, but then having them on that southwest corner of the garden enclosure. Because that, my friends, was a conundrum last year. We had basically the southeast corner of my garden wasn't growing very well, and it took me a little bit to figure out, basically going out there and just paying attention to the sun, that it got almost 2 hours less sun during the springtime, and then the heart of the season than the southwest corner did. So if I was, getting things to germinate, getting things to take off, especially tomatoes, which really love hot, humid weather, was a challenge there. So it's one of the things I was up against. So I just moved all my tomatoes around to the southwest side. And see how they do. All right. Whew. Toasty today. Definitely toasted up. That is for sure. We're supposed to have some pretty warm temperatures for the next bit here, so we'll see how it goes. All right, again, for those just joining, again, my name's Ryan. Here, working on my garden, actually on my yard, building out flower beds today. I've got halfway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so right here is going to be about halfway done with our garden, or with my flower beds. Give you guys a quick look here for those just joining. That's what we've done so far over the last couple days. Again, the average on that is about 6 foot out. And I'm saying right now what we're doing is just kind of building this out, this area, as we're excavating this. So that way, once my perennials, which are in the greenhouse right now, once they're done doing what they're doing, we can get to work on getting them planted in here and get them started, help protect them a little bit. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, you don't know, again, my name's Ryan. I come live pretty much every single day, usually in the afternoons around 3 p.m. Eastern, where I'm working in my garden. I'm working here in the yard, working in my greenhouse, or, taking care of, like saying the other day, was working on my compost bins. I was close to almost 2 hours worth of work out there, basically turning my compost bins over and consolidating them, just to make sure that we were getting good, that we were getting the correct type of composting going there, as far as, breaking down. And for those that don't know, the big thing you're looking at when you're dealing with your compost bins, you're trying to compost, is you are looking for aerobic bacteria to be in there, not anaerobic. And the only way you can make sure that you have aerobic bacteria setting up shop, the way you can be sure about that, is by making sure you have you turn piles. I want that's also to make sure you're, stuff staying, getting the proper mixtures, things like that. But and then you're verifying moisture as well. We go through all that while we're doing it, like live in real time. So anybody's got any questions they can ask. But that's what you're looking for. And today, as I am mowing, it's going to be another day of composting as well. I can't let this stuff sit out this time. My schedule over the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, is going to be pretty tight. So I just got to get them in. Get it in. I also, like I said, I don't really want to have my I really don't want to have my grass have any more anaerobic bacteria set up in it. Had it happen last time. It's just a pain to deal with. It smells bad. Doesn't ruin the compost or anything, but I got neighbors. I'm not trying to have a stinky compost pile. When you do your compost correctly, it should smell like the forest. It should be a loamy smell, not stinky. All right. Getting a bit much out. So I'm just trying to skim the surface here, not trying to take all the loam with me. I want to try to keep as much loam on here as possible. One, because I paid for it. Two, just that much less loam I have to purchase to throw in the beds here. Again, I may or may not. We'll see how things look once I get everything turned over and get a chance to chew on them. Give it a once over, see what the levels look like. They may not end up happening. But I can say already that this is going to look pretty sharp. I'm looking forward to it once I get my perennials in here to get it going and get them set. I imagine by the end of the year. That's one thing I got to keep reminding myself, that where I'm worried about being behind here and everything else, right, is that it's June. in northern Michigan. I had frost 3 weeks ago. Like, I'm not behind on anything. You know, it's just, I mean, yeah, I'm behind because I could have had these dug out already, sure, but yeah, it's not like I wasn't doing anything for the last few months between the work in the garden, painting in the house. I've gotten multiple rooms painted over the last little bit too, so trying not to be too hard on myself, because you know, it's like with any new house, you know, you got projects all over the place you want to get done. You can only do so much. You're one person. You kind of got to pick the priorities for them too. And like I say, in the greenhouse stuff, you know, that all needed to get done when that was getting done. So that way that had to be priority. So that way I was ready to go come this time of year. That my dogs leaving their tennis balls all over. Whew. Man, I am whooped today. Normally there's something new. We got a new allergen or something going, because I say my lungs are just full of crap right now. I can just feel it in there trying to breathe. It's like it's like I got that whole liquid cement lung going on. To break out my generic Mucinex, pretty much have to take that as a 1 a day starting in March. Usually I'm done by now, so there must be something. These weather systems must be bringing some allergens in from somewhere else. Go figure, right? Just watching this bee over here. Well, that's a wasp. Ugh. Whoops. All right. So, anyways, we're just kind of cruising along here today, folks. It's been a good stream so far. I mean, as far as excitedness goes, I mean, you got to watch me basically shovel for a bit. Isn't that great? But these, you know, this is all setting up for doing the flower beds, which is going to be great once you get all the perennials done. The other thing too about what's nice about having the perennial beds, you know, they don't take as much maintenance, but also the fact that you can at any time really, if you want, you can always add annuals in, you know, brighten stuff up a little bit, have it pop. So, and you know, we'll see how this stuff looks, you know. The other thing I really like about gardening is that, you know, if it doesn't work out for you, pull it up, try something different, you know what I mean? Especially, again, if you, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a greenhouse and you want to do some gardening, find a way to create a greenhouse or have even a small scale one that you can just break out during the summertime or early spring. You know, they have a lot of them that are modular, right? The little, instead of a greenhouse, looks like a green closet. You know, they're just little. That's more than enough. And especially if you've got trying to think here. Oh yeah, but especially, you know, if you are looking to just get stuff started for your garden, it's great. But also, like in this case, where, you know, I'm doing perennials, they just need a space where they can kind of hang out for a little bit and grow, and they'll take off after that. That's gonna be their season for growth. Well, that's the other thing this year too, which is really nice. I think some of you may have started following me from there. Is my working on my was morel mushroom hunting this year. I'm gonna find a way, hopefully maybe to have a better signal next year when I'm out there. So a few times when I was trying to show, we were finding mushrooms, and when I went back and looked at the video, it was all grainy. Of course, I'm in the middle of the woods, right? So I may actually just record next year and drop that as a like a long form video of what to be looking for out in the wilderness, mushroom hunting. Because there's a lot of folks that had never, who were interested in it, which I love seeing that. I love people getting interested in learning more about their, where they can go find food outside. It was funny the other day too. Had some pheasant back that I found across the street, just growing in one of the trees. And so I went, and that was about a month ago or so. Yesterday, I just stopped by I had to go and check on some stuff across the street to see what was, growing. And more pheasant back had popped up. Same spot. So that is exciting to know that I got a tree with some tree roots that are inoculated with that. So to be expecting that going forward is pretty cool. Okay, that's not what I want. I'm just skimming across the top, right? All right. All right, well, I'm going to go and drop this load off. I'll be right back. Hang tight, everyone. All right, hey, I'm back, folks. So I'm actually gonna have to kill the stream here. I got some stuff that just popped up, so thanks for stopping in. Take care. I'll see you guys later.